right, look at Sandy. Sandy is a mom. Look at that. Two puppies. Sandy color. They're two boys. One's got a little white on the face. Sandy's a good mom. Took us a couple days to find the puppies because she went up into the jungle and they were actually under a large rock that either Sandy dug out or it was dug out, and she found it. But they were way down in, like a full arm's length, down under this rock. So it took us Friday, Saturday, Monday, and now today's Tuesday to find these little puppies. So I'm officially a father again, twin boys. And Wilma built this little hollow block and some insulation. And we originally had it over here, but the breeze coming off the ocean, Wilma said it was too breezy over here. So she moved them to be in here, so at least she's under shelter. So in the one of the spare rooms. But they look healthy. Their eyes are still closed. So I'll give you guys updates. My little baby Sandy is a mommy. And we can come in here, we can touch the puppies, we can pet her. Not a growl. But not so much for the workers, right? Yeah, a couple of the workers came in here and it was not good. Sandy went into attack mode with a couple of the guys. In fact, you can see where they hang their stuff. You can see here that none of the stuff is here anymore because they came in and took all their belongings, their backpacks and their shirts and their motorcycle helmet. They all took it into another room because they're afraid to come in here. The guy said they won't walk in here anymore because they were afraid of Sandy. But not us. No problems at all. We walk right in. We can touch the babies. No issues. So she's a good mom.
Hello everyone. Today's construction day 109. Guys, thank you for all the nice positive comments with my videos yesterday. I appreciate it very much. And thank you for all the likes and people that are new subscriber that subscribes yesterday. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Early this morning, Wilma and I got a chance to actually go to a local resort here in Darwin. It's the second cabinet maker. Remember I told you we were going to get 2 quotes for our kitchen cabinets. So the second cabinet maker was actually installing cabinets at a resort. So the contractor sent me a text late last night and said, "Hey Greg, I'm gonna be in Darwin at 9 o'clock in the morning. Do you mind meeting us at this resort? And I'll give you an opportunity to meet the cabinet maker as well as see his work and see the cabinets be installed." So I said, great. So was very impressed with the second cabinet maker. Uses the exact same marine plywood, so the same material. But he actually does a different process. It's a 7-layer of paint, and he uses automotive paint. And he does 7 different layers, and then he does some type of a gloss finish on top. And I was just very impressed with the way it looked. Touched it, didn't see any fingerprints. They happened to be ordering the same white cabinets that we want, so I actually see the exact color, and I think we're going to go with that. Now we're going to get a price. So the contractor is going to get the owner up here hopefully within the next couple of days. And he said he was busy, so he would not get to our cabinets until the 1st of January. So that's a concern. He said it would be about 30 days. So now we're talking February 1st for the install. So the contractor was a little concerned with that because remember, 180th day is February 17th. But the good news is the cabinets is the last thing to go in because the floors and the walls and everything else needs to be done, windows. So the cabinets would be the last thing to get installed, but he was a little concerned with the February 1st date. He feels more comfortable with January 15th. So he said he was going to have a conversation, but I guess they're doing a very large resort right now, and it's just a manpower issue getting the cabinets built for us that quickly. But the first step is to get the owner of the cabinet business up here on site to do all the measurements. We did give him our sketch, but he wanted to come up here and measure himself, which I thought that was nice. And we're still waiting for the first cabinet maker to get back to us with a quote. I'll probably stop up there in the next couple days just to see where they're at with that quote. But we'll be making a decision really quick. But I really like the second cabinet maker. Just the way it looked real sturdy, and it was just beautiful looking with that 7 layers of paint. It was like glass. Very impressed with it. So may or may not use them. We still have to get a price, of course, but that's where we were this morning. And with today's updates, it looks like we'll be starting the skim coat tomorrow. So that's good news. And then once the skim coat is done, they're going to get right into the ceiling with the cement board already being on site. So they'll be getting to the ceiling soon. And then once that is done, they'll start rendering the fence. So a lot of things happening here all at once, and that's good news because Wilma and I are definitely getting itchy now a little bit. Definitely want to see things progress. And another thing I forgot to mention is the window contractor says that he really wants the measurements to be perfect, so he wants the window frames skim coated before he comes and measures. I guess that's how exact they are with the windows. He doesn't want to come out and measure with just the window frames. He wants it all skim coated because that'll fill in those cracks and could change the measurement ever so slightly. But I guess they work in very small tolerances. That's what the contractor said. So they want to get the skim coat of the window frames done. And of course that beam that I'll be showing you guys today that they're building, that all has to be done before the measurements could take place. So all that's happening here in the next week or so. So Wilma and I are pleased about that. All right, for the rendering, this tall separation there by the pergola on the outside got completed. So they did finish that piece there, finished the rendering of that column. So we can officially say the fence here on the east side is completed, except for the tops that still need a lot of work. Several videos ago I mentioned that I was wondering how they're going to build a structure large enough, wide enough to accept the panels of the glass that's going all the way across the house. So for the master side and the spare side, there's a concrete beam. So you can see the concrete beam there, and the panels, the glass panels, will nicely fit up in or under that concrete. But here in the center, as you guys know, it's a truss. It's a metal truss. And when you look up at the truss, you can see that it's only a couple of inches. See, it's about 2 inches. And the thickness of the wall is obviously much thicker than just a couple of inches. So how are they going to get the panels to be snug up top? So what they said they were going to do, and they're working it now, and it's very hard to show it, but they took rebar you can see it there, and did 2 strips of rebar that's welded to the bottom of the truss, going underneath. It looks like it's about at least 2 inches below the truss, and it's 2 strands of 12 millimeter. And then they also went up with rebar and went across the top with additional rebar to create a box. And then now they're taking this wire mesh and they're surrounding the rebar that they welded in place as around the double truss to create that rectangular beam that's going to be needed to accept these very large glass panels that's going to go from floor to ceiling. And then now what they just started is they're tying in plywood to form up. And then they're going to be burying that steel truss along with all that rebar that they just welded in this morning and the wire mesh. They're going to bury that in cement, thus creating the area needed or the thickness needed to accept the glass panels. So the glass panels will go up and fit snug underneath that newly formed concrete beam that will have the steel truss, rebar, and that wire mesh all embedded in it, because the goal is to make it wide enough like this. I don't know if it'll be exactly this wide, but wide enough to accept the glass panels that'll go up and fit snug to it. Because just having the metal trusses would not be thick enough. So I said I was going to do my best to explain it and then show the process, but it appears they added rebar and now the wire mesh, and now they're building up forms, and they're going to be putting cement and actually create a beam that's going to surround this steel truss. All right, so I just spoke to the foreman, and the foreman did say that the thickness of this newly created concrete beam will be the same thickness as this wall. It'll be the same to go up and then all the way across. So that is the goal, to get it the same thickness so the glass panels will fit up there correctly. All right, so the guys are making extremely fast work of this beam. So it's only taken them several hours. What takes the longest is actually when they have to wait for it to dry, and then they come back and put another layer. Well, you can see, I'll zoom in here. You can see they had it built up real thick, and they surrounded that double truss with the wire, and they were able to get all that wet cement through that wire, and then that helped support and make the shape. But what they've been doing is they put in, you know, like an inch or so, and they let it sit for a half hour, 45 minutes, and then they come back and add to it, and then they just keep coming back and adding to it. But now you can see the plywood bottom, which is just holding everything up. But they're now just adding another layer, and then they'll just continue to smooth it out, and then eventually those cross beam will be as thick as this. So that's the goal, for it to be as thick, as wide as this, to go up and go all the way across to accept the large windows, the panels that'll eventually be here. All right, so yesterday's video you saw the delivery of the skim coat and the cement board. So they got that stored away here in the master bedroom, and then they do have 3 lengths of the 6-inch pipe that we'll use for the leach field. The first length will be solid, and the next two will have holes drilled in it for any possible drainage coming out of that third chamber. But there's the supplies for the skim coat and the cement board for the ceiling. All right, so they have the final coat on for the day. So it's still rough. So talking to the guys tomorrow, they're going to come back through and add one more layer just to build it up a little bit more, a little wider, and then they'll go ahead and render that. But they want it to sit overnight and dry. But you can see just how they made that beam come to life from just steel trusses, and they got it looking real good going across. So that's done, and now they're working on the main room, which is the last room for the ceiling. So it looks like they got about 25% complete. So they were able to get all the angle iron all the way around the perimeter of the room. And it looks like they got about 25% of the furring strips up. And they still have all this to do. And then the second half of the room. So it's going to be all day tomorrow for them to get this completed. But it looks like tomorrow they could start on the skim coat. I think that's the plan, is to get the skim coat started inside the home. And then right on the heels of that, they will start putting up the cement board. They're making a lot of noise here. I was out in the main living area, and I could hear them crying for their mommy. But they were just over in this corner, and both of them made it all the way out. We have some of this insulation for them to try to keep them warm, and then we'll bring up some old clothes tomorrow for them as well. But Sandy's following me around, and then she comes in here every 20 or 30 minutes. Look how careful she is walking around her babies. And the one has a lot of nice markings on the face. I don't know if I'll get that on camera or not. But she's being very gentle. Right, girl? Come on, look at that face.